All right, so I'm Teresa. I founded the social enterprise Pragulic 7 years ago already. I hope you could go through the materials and also you saw the video. So in the Czech Republic and especially in Prague, there is quite an issue of homelessness. There are some estimates that we have around 68,000 homeless people in the Czech Republic, and in Prague, in the capital, it can be 10 to 15,000. And like people become homeless from different circumstances. So we try to see the situation and kind of build the bridge between the society and homeless people, bring them together. And that's why we came up with the idea of Pragulic, because we were looking for the unique knowledge of the homeless people and the value they can bring to others. So in 2012, me and two of my friends and schoolmates from the university, we decided to start a social enterprise, or at least we were encouraged by our teacher to be interested in the social entrepreneurship and take an advantage of the competition Social Impact Award, which was happening in Prague, in Impact Hub. And basically for this competition, we came up with this idea of tours guided by homeless people. So it was based on the premise that homeless people are actually the ones who spend most of their time outside in the street, therefore they know them very well, and the perfect position for them could be a tour guide. So we usually employ around 9 homeless people as a tour guide, and more people as on different positions, also as a receptionist or as a cleaner in the city. But the core business is still the guided tours and experiences in the city. Through this activity, we try to improve their living situation. So they're getting salary, they are paid per every tour. They get different benefits which help them to kind of live a decent life. It can be from housing to have a new friends, have something to eat and clothes, some basic stuff, but also this more advanced, like really be motivated to change the situation. We see that through this activity, they're really getting, they're being motivated and their self-esteem is really raising, and they are getting new skills. On the other hand, we are working very much with the society, because we could only employ tens of homeless people, but we had more than 70,000 people on our tours already. So these are people who are interested in the service, they book it online on our website, they pay for it, and they join the tour or other activity. So from this, you can see that our business model is based on the income from the customers who pays for the tour, and this make us help us to be a sustainable social enterprise. We believe that once a person has a chance to meet with the homeless, face to face, and experience the tour for 2 hours, which it usually takes, they get more information about the topic and they change their opinion and basically their stereotypes. So this is our main mission of the Pragulic, to really shift the mindset of people when it comes to the homelessness. So there was a brief introduction, and I hope you have a lot of questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Teresa. One thing I would like a little more elaboration on, I'll mention that in a minute. But before I say that, a technical thing, especially to our online participants, Ashken and Hermine. If you have questions, please mention in the chat area that you have a question, and then so that we can sort of moderate and see how many questions we have available. So mention in the chat area when you have a question, if you have a question at any point over the next 45, 50 minutes, and you'll definitely get the chance to voice your question or your comment, whatever it is. Teresa, if you can, please elaborate a little bit more on the school education part, because my understanding is that you also have lots of school groups that go through the tour with the homeless people, and how this is sort of a key component to your mission, and how the whole idea came about.
Yeah, so we offer our services to a different segment of customers. One of them are schools, elementary, high schools, universities from the Czech Republic, but also from abroad, from other countries. This especially has a huge impact on the kids, especially small kids, when they really have a chance to experience this topic in the young age, and then especially when they go through education, we receive a lot of high school students who study like health or social services, and university students as well. So they can really get some information from the practical information, what is really happening, and meet really the people they will be working with later, or like learn more about the different topics when it comes to health and psychological problems, addictions, and so on. So this is big kind of market for us. It has a huge impact. It's also the source of the revenue for us. And besides the traditional tours, which these customers can book, we also do a bit more educational and interactive services. It's a homeless challenge, for example, where kids are they are working together and learning about the environmental stuff. They collaborating. They learn how to be sustainable. So these are more interactive activities. I can give you an example. We used to have schools from Switzerland who come to Prague. They took a tour and they took this activity, which usually takes around 4 hours. We spent this time in the farmer squad, where they learn how the building works, how people collaborate there, how they have to be ecological, how they're using resources, especially water, electricity, and so on. We saved some food from waste, and we cooked a meal which we then distribute to homeless people and people in need. We've been building shelters from the used materials and so on.
And a quick follow-up. So with the schools, is this institutionalized, meaning that do you have a partnership with the Ministry of Education or maybe a local authority? Or do you approach each school separately, and does each school separately decide to work with you?
We don't have any partnership with any public institution. And I'm very thankful that we don't have to approach the schools, they are approaching us. So if they are interested in the service, they book directly with Pragulic, or they go through the different agencies who also, especially schools from abroad, they booking through the agencies who help them to organize a program in Prague.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a few questions in the room. Tate, would you like to start with one of your questions first? Yeah, no, we have the first question coming, but let me just, we will get the microphone ready.
Okay. Hi, Teresa.
Hello.
My questions are mainly about guides, about your selection process of your guides. How do you select your guides? How to find them? Because I know that it's not that easy. I know that you train them after selection, but again, how do you select them? Because one of the main questions that I had at the beginning and at the end is the question regarding safety and security of the tourists. Because homeless people, I know how it's in Czech Republic, but in Armenia, I wouldn't trust that much homeless people to guide tourists, especially school children, without any supervision of a representative of the organization. Do you accompany each group, or do you really trust your guides when they are working with the group? And the other question regarding...
Let's do one question first.
Yeah. Because I have to, there's already a lot of stuff, so I will start with this one. So the selection process is actually not so difficult, at least from my perspective, because I've been doing it for many years, and for me it's like pretty easy. So when we started, we didn't really have any experience, so we just tried. And for us, the easiest way was to start working with the NGOs and with the organization who already had a lot of experience. Because we never talked with a homeless person before, we didn't want to approach them on the streets, we wouldn't know how. So we made a list of NGOs, we contacted them through the email, and then we either visited them in the shelter houses, or they recommended us a few people who were like suitable for the job. And we met like a lot of homeless people, but then we realized some of them they didn't show up anymore. So we were learning by doing. Like we can't, like the number of people who are not very responsible is really high. So from maybe 20 people, you can count with one. So so that's why the selection process it's really important. And so when we started with Pragulic, we approached maybe 20, 30 people, and then we were quite lucky that we started to work with 6 of them, which was, I think, too much for the beginning, because we were thinking maybe 2-3 people will be enough. Then we developed the training, which was based on the knowledge from like non-formal education for kids, and we trained them for 1 month and prepared them for the position. And from this initial group, there is only 1 person left who is working with us for the whole period, like for 7 years. Then we've been recruiting time to time, and it changed a lot. So now for me, the best way is that when we do like different activities, like give away food or clothes to homeless people, or when we just walk outside, we like if I see someone, I approach them, talk to them directly, and then offer them a job. So this is how we recruit right now. We also get a lot of phone calls and emails from people who are interested in the position, or they are recommending someone else. So we have really like a long list of people who can be a tour guide, and once in a while when we need to or can employ more, we talk to these people. Because we employ also at different other positions, it's kind of the incubator. So we have like really list maybe of 50 people who can start working if there are these capacities. And then, of course, it's very important to work with people who are responsible. and who we can trust completely. So this is also part of the training, which now it doesn't take 1 month like when we started. Now it takes few days. I can basically do it in 2 days. And we are building really trust between each other, and because we do around 60 tours per month, we don't really supervise anyone. They are the only one who is on the tour. It's a tour guide and a group of people. Also, it would be an extra cost, so they have our full trust, and I am not afraid to give them every month a big pile of money, and they just distributing their salaries by themselves. So I think that it's also important, like I wouldn't work with someone I don't trust, and I wouldn't give them money, or I wouldn't be completely sure that they are responsible. I don't know if I answered your question. It's more on this like
Okay. I know that Atif has other questions as well, but we also have one question at the moment from Ashken, who's online. You answered it to some extent in what you just said, but Ashken, do you want to voice the question yourself, or would you like me to read it out? Ashken?
You can read it.
Okay, the question is, what problems did you have in the early period of your social enterprise, and how did you overcome them? So let's go, I mean, you covered some of the problems already, but maybe what other problems did you have when you were just starting, and how did you overcome those problems especially?
Yeah, it was like a bunch of problems, because like really we just created a project on the paper with no experience. So the first one was like we had to learn everything about homelessness. So we tried to do it through like reading different books, papers, materials which was already written, like learn all the statistics, data and stuff, and then like meeting with the people. So we had to kind of complete this knowledge. Then we had to build a network. So in that case, like Impact Hub was very helpful, because when we've been in this competition, Social Impact Award, it was happening in Impact Hub, and we could outsource a lot of people. So anytime we had an issue, we could approach some kind of mentor from the network, which was very useful. But me personally, I didn't know anyone in Prague. I just, when we started Pragulic, I just moved to Prague like 3 months before that. So I didn't know the city, I didn't know anyone. So it was really about like getting to know all the people who are important in the field, getting to know different organizations, NGOs, and also like getting to know the city. So actually through the tours, I could really discover Prague from the completely different angle, which I really loved and enjoyed. I have to say that for me, it was really difficult to do all this like legal stuff. So, for example, like how to establish an NGO, or like really decide which legal form we should take it. We should be non-profit or for-profit, and if non-profit, like which kind of non-profit. And so we asked different lawyers and tax experts, but no one was really sure which form is the best for the social enterprise, because it wasn't really something well established in the Czech Republic at that time. So it was like we just decided for something. We didn't have much information, so we had to find out about the legislation, how to employ homeless people. That was, and still is, a big challenge, because we need to have a legal agreement with every employee, because we pay them. we have to pay certain taxes. We have to be sure how high is the tax. If we employ someone and the person has debts, which in all the cases they have, if they exceed a certain amount per month, all the money will be taken from them. So from this like social aspect, we're also trying to avoid that, so they can get as much money as possible, which will like go well with all this regulation and also with the social benefits. So this is very difficult to manage, and all these things we had to figure out at the beginning, and it was really tough. But still, we were able to do all these things and start the service and launch the first tour in 2 months. So it was really like short and like efficient time. It was very tough, and yeah.
Let me just try to get a little more information based on what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Given that you didn't know anything about the problem of homelessness and that you were new to the city of Prague yourself, why did you pick this issue to focus on? And why did you pick the solution of tourism? I mean, a little bit more about your background and your team's background, basically, for us to understand if this choice was based on your sort of personal passion or your personal background, or how it works.
Yeah, so the background of the team was, it was not very diverse. We've been schoolmates from the university, so we had the background from like previously working in the NGO field, and we've been studying civil sector studies at the Charles University. So it's kind of a very broad program where you get a knowledge from different fields in the public sector. It's about the civil engagement and so on. So that was pretty obvious that, yeah, we've been working in the field, and we still do. Then how we choose to work with this topic, it was really unexpected and random event, because it was just the idea, and we've been following the idea. For me personally, like the topic of tourism, and especially to discover the city from the different angle, it's very interesting, because like I see a huge like potential in the activities where a person has a chance to see the city with the local people, contribute to the community, and getting some kind of unique information, using non-touristic ways, see bit different paths. So this was for me what I am looking when I go somewhere, and when I travel, I always look for this kind of activities. So therefore it was very easy for me to create something like this in Prague also for myself. And then working with the people, homeless people, it was very, it was just like perfect. It was perfectly suited for this job. And so there was no motivation really working with the homeless people. It was just let's do something where there is no interest, no one really cares, there is not enough services. There is really huge problem, because there was also an economical crisis at the time. So the problem was really huge, and there were no employment opportunities. There was this huge misunderstanding of homelessness. So I think we just took an advantage of that, and we learned about everything later, and really discovered by ourselves that it is really an extremely interesting topic. There are many effective ways how to help like people in need and poor people, and that they have really and very interesting stories, and that it's definitely worth sharing with others.
Okay, thank you very much. Latif, you have your second question ready? Yep.
Another question, you mentioned something I would like to understand about your marketing activities, especially in the initial stage, that to convince people to take a homeless tour guide for visiting the city. I would like to also from that point of view to change the people's attitude to take the first step to have a homeless tour. How you manage to change initially, especially in the initial stage, how you manage to attract tourists?
So, because to make sure that I understood the question correctly, it was about how we attracted the tourists and how we getting customers.
In the
Is it
beginning,
correct?
especially, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning, yes.
Yeah, that's a very good question because like anytime you start something new, it's the crucial thing is to get customers or users or community, whatever. That's like basically the most important thing. It's all based on this. So we've been sure that we have a very interesting topic. We've been also sure that it's something completely new. People will not really trust it. They will be afraid, and they will also they will not trust also the founders as three very young students who came to Prague and they are offering this special service. So I think one important thing, the first one was that we've been successful in the competition Social Impact Award. And we went through the acceleration program, so it was kind of the stand and confirmation that there is some background. They also help us with the initial kind of PR. So the first journalists who actually approached us, they had the press release from the competition. And since the first journalist wrote an article about Pragulic, then it was copied by everyone else. So even before we launched the service at the initial just project phase, we've been already giving an interview basically on daily basis to the journalists because everyone was interested. Who are these young crazy people who believe that they will work with the homeless people and create this crazy service? It was important to work with the social media to create a community. So we've been very successful with the Facebook at the time. Later, of course, Instagram, but it was 4 years later when we started to use it fully and target much younger audience. So we very fast we started to build a community on Facebook, and really the whole communication strategy was about offering people a different angle. So because we are not registered social service and we are not obliged by the law to certain regulation, we could communicate personal stories of the homeless people, and we could be quite unorthodox in the way we communicate. So we could make different jokes, post pictures, share the personal stories. We could be very playful, and it was kind of new way of communication. So we quickly built an audience on the social media, and we could offer also journalists a lot of interviews and interesting content. We know that we have to take a lot of pictures and videos to really prove people that it is working, that there are customers. We show pictures and faces of the people who are working with us. We share their stories. And we try to overcome all these like expectations, like that homeless people will not arrive to the tour, that they will be late or they never show up because they are not responsible, they smell, and we as an organizers, we are not like experienced enough to run this service, so we had to work with all these expectations, but very soon, like we could really prove by all the content we had that it is working, and since then we like had higher and higher number of customers every month since it started to work very well. So it was really spreading thanks to the competition support, thanks for the journalists and people we had in our network who tried the tour, and then the word of mouth worked very well. So the experience was so interesting and strong that they've been talking about it with their friends, relatives, and they shared what happened. So we got new customers, and then quite fast we get some travel agencies on board and other organizations. Some of them are working with us for the whole period of time.
Okay, thank you very much. One of our online participants, Hermine, has a question about the business model. Hermine, if you can hear me and you would like to unmute yourself and ask the question as specifically as possible, yourself, please go ahead. Let me see if I can unmute. Hermine, would you like to read out the question yourself? The question in the chat box is basically, what is your business model? So if you can elaborate a little bit more on your business model, Teresa, we'll see if that covers Hermine's area of curiosity.
Yeah. Okay, so so there was so the current business model is based on the payment for the services we offer. The core business is to sell tours guided by homeless people. Then we have team buildings, educational activities, 24 hours experience. So these are all experiences where the homeless person will show you the city from a different perspective. And we sell tickets or entrance for this service to different like customers, individual groups, Czech or foreigners. The price range is approximately 250 to 450 Czech crowns per person. So we have tours where the minimal number of people is around 5, and the maximum is, depending on the tour guides, it's 15 to 30 people. So this is the core business model. Then the tour guide is paid by Pragulic, a fixed fee per every tour. They're also getting tips from the customers, and benefits they are getting also as a part of the salary, or besides the salary they're getting also benefits which kind of supplement the money and help them to kind of improve the situation. Is this did I answer the question?
Is there another question in the room? Yes, we have one more question from Datev.
My question is about the change in the life of homeless people. Eventually they get salary, it means that something changes in their life, and they perhaps at some point will have the opportunity not to be homeless, but to have an apartment or somewhere to live. So I would like to understand whether people working for you as tour guides at some point they leave you because they are not anymore homeless people, or they are obliged to remain homeless people to work for you. Just a little bit humoristic question, but just mean that at some point they are earning some money, or whether they earn enough money to sustain their life.
So we use the term homeless people to make it clear what we mean when we talk about this problem. But homelessness, there are several definitions, and when you take the broad definition, which is it's the one from the FANSTA organization, homeless people are not only those people who actually sleep outside. There are more levels. There are also people who sleep in the dormitories, shelters, asylum houses, like under the different charities, and people who are in general in some kind of unsustainable accommodation. So, of course, that people who are working with Pragulic, in most cases, they don't sleep outside. So they have a different levels of accommodation. It's very often that when we start working with a new person, they are in quite bad conditions. They usually sleep somewhere outside. They have many other problems. As soon as they join, it's our best interest to help them with the accommodation. We are not a social service, so we are not providing anything but help, and so they can ask for a loan, or we pay for a couple of months of their accommodation, or we help them to search for the accommodation and use our contacts and possibilities we have. So if they want, they are not obliged. So some people, they want to stay outside, and maybe they are not feeling so confident to change their situation so quickly. So that's a very individual approach. So if they want, it usually takes few months, and they're moving from the streets to a kind of basic accommodation, and they are usually like improving. In Prague, the situation with the housing is quite tricky. Not only homeless people, but people in general have really troubles to get some affordable housing or get the housing at all. The rents are extremely high. There is not enough housing opportunities. We had a proposal of the legislation in the Czech Republic about social housing, but it didn't pass yet. So there are no regulation by the city or by the government. So get a proper flat or room in the flat is it's impossible. So there are some places which are like social housing, which is provided by the municipality, or there are different kinds of shelter houses and dormitories. So we usually try to help with that and provide what is the best at this stage for the person. So we had, for example, one employee, Yerevan. So we knew her for a couple of years, and when we met her, she was sleeping at the train station. She was just rough sleeping under the better, like concrete wall, which was covering her partly. And because at that point she decided that she's gonna quit alcohol because she was alcohol addict. I offered her a job with Pragulic when we distributed food at the train station, and she joins. First, she was working at the reception, so she could get some basic salary. And then we get kind of sponsorship from a person, so we could cover 3 months of her rent. So we together we found a dormitory, like the commercial one, which are very expensive too. And we covered 3 months of her living, and then her task was to sustain the job, not drink anymore, have a motivation, and during this time earn enough money to be able to also sustain the accommodation, which she did. And now she got married. They live together with her new husband. They have also a small dog, which she brings to work all the time. She does tours as well sometimes, and now she is the manager with Pragulic. So she really grew in this, like it's basically, it's gonna be, I think 1 year. It's 1 year. She really grew a lot and sustain herself. So this can be one of examples, but again, it's very individual. It depends on the person motivation. Also, the psychological problems are very critical. Although we do have a support from the psychologist, the problems are often so like rooted and difficult that it's very, very hard to help in the long term.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is from me. You have served more than 60,000 customers. You have increased your revenues by about 100 times from the first year to now. What is the next step? Your mission is to improve attitudes towards homelessness. What is your next step? Doing more of the same, doing something different, expanding? How do you plan to scale up?
Yeah, so at this point, we kind of fulfilled our mission. We could see the shift in the society, and we are very happy about it. So it's time to move somewhere else. So last month, we've been testing different kinds of activities. We cooperate with the city of Prague and help to clean different areas of the city where homeless people spend a lot of their time. So far, like we know that we deliver this service well, but the cooperation with the city doesn't work well. So we decided that this is not the way where we're going to go. We're either going to cooperate with the private sector, not with the municipality yet. So we tested this, and it was a lot of fun. So now our next step is that we are building a platform where we want to work with our own customers and users, the whole Pragulic community, because we saw that when a person take a tour, they have this experience, and very often they are moved by the story and they want to help somehow. And we didn't know how to, what would be the next step for these people. So we built a platform where people find basically question and answers to the most common questions. They can pose the questions by themselves. They can discuss different topics regarding homelessness. They can also organize themselves, so get together in the neighborhood, in the local community, and help someone who has troubles in their neighborhood. So, for example, the idea is if you live in some area and you know that there is a homeless person you are passing every day when you go to work, you have many questions, like who is he, how he became homeless, can you help him? But very often you don't approach him or her. So you can discuss this issue with others on our platform. connect with other people who have a similar idea or problem they want to solve, and with our support you can solve it. We also have like donation platform which we're building there to be able to sustain this project, and there will be some best practices. So we are doing guidelines for people how to act in the certain situation, because they are very often same and it's repeating. So the idea behind the platform, to summarize it, is that we want to motivate you, like every one of you, that you can, and empower you, that you can help a homeless person or a person in a need directly. So you don't need any organization or, you know, anything else. It's just up to you. And because like that, there is much bigger impact and help.
Very good. Okay, my question was if you have thought to expanding in other countries. I hope the question was not released, yeah. So, and if you have thought, and what countries would you think, and how would you go about this? Because I think this is an amazing example, and for example, I would love to see something like that in Armenia.
Yeah, so we had at the beginning we had a dream that we want to expand in Vienna. So we tried, and it was not successful. So okay, we said no scaling abroad for now. We're gonna focus on Prague. Then when we grow a little bit more, we open several branches in the Czech Republic, in 2 other cities. And we also 1.5 years ago, we opened one in Ostrava, where I am right now. So we have 3 Pragulic cities, 4 actually, yeah, in the Czech Republic. But to be honest, Prague has 10 million incoming tourists every year, and it's a huge market. And also the problem of homelessness, it's concentrated in the capital. So this is where we do most of our activities, and everything else is it's just because we want to try, or we test, and we want to see what's happening. So we will see what's going to be next, and if there going to be some help with help like to scale, but we know it's very difficult to manage something like this from the distance. So I'm not really sure if we are able to do that.
Okay, thank you. Angela in the room has a small question, and then we'll go to the online, the last 2 questions from the online participants.
Hi. So my question is actually a small logistical one. I was wondering if you're catering to tourists specifically, do the tour guides know different languages, or do you have a translator on hand that will be translating? Or just I was curious how it works practically.
Okay, great. 70% of our customers are from the Czech Republic, so then it's clear we use Czech language. For the rest of the customers, and also for us to be able to scale, there are several possibilities. One of them, we actually, at this moment, we have 3 tour guides who speaks English, which is the main language, and they can also provide like Russian, German language on the good level. This is one way how to do it, to recruit guides who has the knowledge of the language, which is difficult, but there are many of them, but it's really difficult because for example, Aleš, who is working with us, and he used to live 20 years in the States, he is fluent in English. He also had a brain surgery, so we had to work with him for a long time to developed his speaking skills and learn how to concentrate, because he was not really able to speak fluently. So there are many obstacles and many very kind of individual problems we are facing with this. And for the rest of the customers, they can, when they go through the booking process, they can book a translation. So we have a pool of either volunteers or paid translators who go on the tour with the tour guides and do a simultaneous interpreting.
Okay, thank you. So the last two questions, I'll sort of club them together and you can handle them in any order you like. Ashken wants to know a little bit more about the number of beneficiaries you have, and you mentioned that a little bit, but if you could tell us from the very beginning until now, your current condition, what is the number of homeless people you've worked with at the time, and whether you've looked to grow this, keep it stable, or in fact reduce it? So that's the first question. And the second question is, what would you say is your competitive advantage?
So the first one is about the number of homeless we engaged so far.
Yeah, the number of beneficiaries. So if you consider your beneficiaries to be the people you've engaged directly, then this is the question. Otherwise, if you consider it to be a broader group, then maybe you can address the question as a broader group.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna give you a good answer, because I don't really, I don't have a track of how many employees we had overall. I think it might be around 70, maybe 70 homeless people who directly work with Pragulic. Then the number of indirect people, it's I can't say how many. It's because we don't get any money from government. We don't have to like track these things and fill some columns in the form. So we are not don't have a track on these numbers.
At present, you were saying you have how many guides at the moment?
At the moment, we have 9 guides, but also last month we had 25 employees who did different activities. We also have more employees at the reception. So at the moment, it might be, you know, it's not a stable number. It's changing all the time. So once it's like 9, then it's 15, then it's 25, then it's 30. So yeah, around that.
Okay.
It's very broad.
So the next question, the last question, what would you say is your competitive advantage?
Okay, so in the travel industry market, it's definitely the unique experience we are providing. And unique in this way that people are getting really kind of secret and private information. So they are learning about the stuff which is not usually, they don't have access to this kind of information. So people are really curious about like how it works with the drugs, how it used to be sold, how it used to be cooked, especially during the communist time, how the homeless people live, where they live, how much they earn. They are very interested in the personal stories. Like it's all this curiosity. That we are actually responding to this curiosity. That's a big advantage. Then the social aspect is important, because people know that they are contributing to the project. They know very well. They know they are contributing to the concrete person they are helping. And and it's a very cool way how to see the city. So this is the advantage when it comes to the like travel industry, and like when people choosing what they're gonna do from the different activities they can do any day, anytime. This is definitely it. from the perspective of the organization working with the homeless people. I think that our advantage is that we use a lot of innovation, so we are not offering any services who already exist in the Czech Republic. We try to come up with something which is missing, so we are quite good in identifying stuff which is missing here, and it either works somewhere else abroad. We don't have to come up with something new, and it's just about like bringing something which is working to the Czech environment and just talking. We don't have to do it by ourselves, but we can just talk about it and inspire others to do it, and bring these services somehow on the market. So this might be our advantage in the like homelessness field.
Okay, thank you very, very much for your time, Teresa. It was a pleasure. And I hope the people who participated today found this discussion useful. And as you know, it's recorded and will be put online. So people in Armenia will be watching this webinar and learning from you for years to come, hopefully.
Great. So guys, I hope it was useful for you. Thanks for your question, for your time. I enjoyed this interaction. Maybe if you have more questions in the future, you can contact me, and you can check the Pragulic website or Facebook, Instagram. Although it's social networks are not in English now, but the web page it is, so you can get a bit more information. There have been also some articles, so if you want to learn more. And I hope that you will start some interesting social enterprise by yourselves in the future.
Great, thank you. So people who are online, Ashwin, Hermine, please don't disconnect just yet, because we have a small sort of feedback session coming up as well. Teresa, thank you. The rest of this discussion is going to be in Armenian, so you're free to disconnect. We'll be in touch.
All right.
Thank you again for your time.
Okay, bye-bye.